Hay momentos y experiencias de vida que uno recuerda con mucho cariño. Ese primer beso, ese primer disco, instantes que se quedan en nuestra mente y en nuestro corazón hasta el último de nuestros días. El que están a punto de ver es uno de ellos. Esta historia comienza en 1996, en el University College de Londres. El joven cantante Chris Martin se encuentra con quien sería su guitarrista, Johnnie Buckland, para formar una banda llamada Pectorals. Inspirados por bandas como The Beatles, U2 y R.E.M., reclutan a Guy Berryman, quien se une luego a la banda como bajista, y cambian su nombre a Starfish. Pero faltaba el baterista. Es ahí cuando Will Champion aparece en escena, para completar la formación definitiva de lo que hoy es Coldplay en 1998. A partir de ese momento comienza un camino lleno de música. 8 BRIT Awards.
The winner of the BRIT Award for Best Single is Speed of Sound by Coldplay.
5 MTV Awards. 7 Grammys, con 25 nominaciones.
Coldplay.
Más de 80 millones de discos vendidos alrededor del planeta, convirtiéndose así en una de las bandas más influyentes en lo que va de este milenio. Su primer álbum Parachutes nos dejó canciones como Don't Panic, Shiver, Yellow y Trouble. Este año, dicho álbum hizo parte de nuestro especial anual de obras maestras, porque realmente lo es. In My Place, God Put a Smile Upon Your Face, The Scientist y Clocks, canción ganadora del Grammy, continuaron el camino de la banda en su segundo álbum, A Rush of Blood to the Head. Un álbum que se ubicó entre los 500 álbumes más importantes de la historia, según la revista Rolling Stone. X and Y, con algunas influencias electrónicas, nos presentó Fix You, Talk, Speed of Sound, y vendió más de 10 millones de copias. Brian Eno se da a la tarea de producir su cuarto álbum, Viva la Vida, or Death and All His Friends, de donde salen canciones como Lovers in Japan, Lost, Strawberry Swing y Viva la Vida. El color y la alegría comienzan a ser parte de la banda en su álbum Milo Xyloto, con canciones como Every Teardrop is a Waterfall, Paradise, Charlie Brown y Princess of China a dúo con Rihanna. La electrónica hace parte de nuevo en el álbum Ghost Stories, que cuenta con Avicii, Timbaland y Marion como productores invitados. Sky Full of Stars y Magic dejan el camino abierto para un séptimo álbum. Un álbum que vamos a descubrir juntos. Para hablar con la banda y conocer de primera mano todos los detalles de su nuevo trabajo. A Head Full of Dreams. Al llegar a California, un misterioso link aparece de repente en mi correo. Está marcado como 2015 LP de una banda llamada Deep Blue Tree Roots. Está firmado por Chris. Es el nuevo álbum de Coldplay, disfrazado para evitar piraterías por obvias razones. Lo oigo un par de veces la noche anterior mientras camino por esta mágica ciudad, pero es hora de dormir. La espera ha terminado. El día ha llegado. Una mansión ubicada en los Hollywood Hills es el escenario perfecto para el encuentro. Todo está listo. Es hora de hablar con Coldplay.
Hi. First of all, my name is Uribe. I'm from Colombia. X103.9 in radio.
Cool.
And congrats on your 7th album.
Thank you
I
so
already
much.
heard it. It's a very positive album, a very uplifting album. And I think that's a place where you are right here as human beings. Right now, you're in a point of your life that you're happy with what you are doing in this moment, this particular moment, musically speaking?
Yeah, I think so. I think this was the most enjoyable record to make that we've ever made, and I think we feel free to try new things, stuff we'd never tried before. We had amazing collaborations with Stargate first of all, but also Beyonce, Noel Gallagher, Tove Lo, and all wonderful musicians. And I think most of all we appreciate being still together after 20 years of knowing each other.
And how do you decide those collaborations were going to be made? With
Sorry,
Beyonce? How do you decide, okay, I'm going to work with Beyonce, I'm going to
great
with
question.
Noel Gallagher here, I'm going to
Yeah.
ask Mary Clayton,
Yeah.
Tove Lo.
Well, I think the main feeling that we had going into this album was a feeling of freedom, and I think we've become comfortable with the idea that some people don't like what we do, and it's totally okay. And when you become comfortable with that, then you're free to just follow your heart and follow your passion. And so some of the songs, when they were coming through, they just seemed to suggest some guests. We say, this person would sound so good on this bit. And because the album's called A Head Full of Dreams and it's about hope and, humans' ability to create out of nothing, we just thought, well, let's just ask. The worst thing people can do is to say no.
Yeah.
So those collaborations just came out from us being excited by the idea and then asking the people involved, and we were really lucky that they said yeah. This is about lots of different things. It's really the only rule we set was that there was no rules particularly. But what came out naturally was, I think, a lot of singing about love and togetherness and hope, and some of the songs were inspired by certain books and situations, and like the last song, which is called Up and Up, that came from reading a book called Grapes of Wrath, and a song called Adventure of a Lifetime came from reading a book called Half the Sky by Nicholas Kristof. And the first song, A Head Full of Dreams, came from reading a poem called The Conference of Birds. So there were lots of inspirations for the words, but the feeling that was mostly wanting to come through was a feeling of not giving up, of like optimism and hope.
You released like a snippet of what's going to be the video
Yeah.
for Adventure of a Lifetime.
Yeah.
And something that caught my attention is that you use motion capture.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
why did you decide that concept? I know you cannot talk a lot about the video, but
Yeah, we can.
yeah, of course. Why the ape thing?
Okay, so what happened was, one time I was on an airplane with Andy Serkis, the actor who
Yeah, the one who plays Lord of the
Caesar the
Rings.
Ape
Yeah.
and Gollum and King Kong. And we were talking, and he said, "Oh, I've just made this studio for motion capture." And I was like, "I wonder if we could ever do a video with you guys." And he's like, "Yeah." So then I called him when we were coming towards the end of this album and said, "Were you serious?" And he said, "Yeah, come down." So with him and this guy Matt Whitecross, who was our old friend, we just put on those suits. And then he said, "Now look, when you put the suit on, here are all the animals you can be. And then on the computer it comes up with 5, what it was, like an ape and a dinosaur.
Godzilla.
Yeah. And he said, and then when we were looking, and then you move and the creature moves on the screen.
Yeah, it should be great.
And so we said, oh, let's all be apes. And then we made up this story about the evolution of a band from apes to musicians. And then we just made it in one day. Well, we made our bit in one day.
Exactly, our bit took a day, the rest of it takes, the animation takes months.
The title of the album is A Head Full of Dreams. And for both of you, musically and artistically, what is that dream right now?
Good question. Well, it sounds very corny or cheesy, maybe, but
cheesy is good.
Cheesy is good. Yes, I love cheese.
It's always good.
But just being where we are right now is an extraordinary privilege, to still be able to talk, sit in front of you guys and be next to a good friend that I've travelled around the world with and played music with. It really doesn't get any better. We've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows, and we've written hundreds of songs and made 7 albums now, and we're still in a position where we're kind of happy to hang out with each other, and we're still really good friends, and that really is that's very. I think we're very lucky in that respect. We work hard at music and we work hard at our relationships, and so I feel that that's really. It is. I never dreamt that we would be in this position when we started our band in 1997. I don't think that I thought we'd be here nearly 20 years later, still hanging out and still talking to lovely people all around the world. So it is a dream. It's amazing.
I'm with him. I agree. I agree with all of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Yeah.
Well, I think the last record we made called Ghost Stories, we deliberately kept it kind of blue and silver, like nighttime, and that was a very cathartic album to make. It was very quiet and intimate, and I think after that, just felt natural. Instead of going on tour, we wanted to take the happiness we felt at the end of that recording and go in and make this thing called A Head Full of Dreams with no limits on the colours, because we'd just been very restricted for, we said with Ghost Stories, let's keep it in this world all the time. So the feeling of freedom after that just meant that we accept any
colour. We wanted as broad a palette as possible, to cover as much as we could.
And so, I'm sure to a lot of people, colour represents music and music represents colour. So I think the fact that we have lots of colours around is because that's how we see these songs and the sounds within them.
So you have 12 songs in that album, including X Mark the Spot.
Yes.
What is the process? How do you decide? And you said, okay, Adventure of a Lifetime has to be the single of the album.
It's a good question. In fact, I remember the first time we ever released an album, the promo copy of Parachutes had a different track listing, and we gave it to journalists, and we were doing interviews like this, and a French journalist said, why is this album so miserable? Why are you so sad? And we realized that it ended with, it was just it wasn't the proper track listing, and so he'd heard it in a completely different way, whereas initially we had put the song Everything's Not Lost at the end, which is supposed to be a bit of hope at the end. And it's so important the way that you structure an album, and we knew how we wanted it to start and we knew how we wanted it to end, and we wanted a song that showed the 4 of us playing together, and it just feels it's got one of the best riffs Johnny's ever written. It's got Guy's best bass line, it's got some brilliant lyrics, it's got so much stuff that we all really are very proud of, and it sounds contemporary and it sounds fresh, and so we thought that's got to be the first one, and then we'll see what happens for the other ones.
You even get some guitars inspired by Guns N' Roses, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I can hear that, yeah. Definitely.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Well, I think on a very basic level, music doesn't have any borders. Sometimes there's a difference of language, but everywhere you go around the world, people listen to music from the other side of the world. You know, it's a very universal language. So if you're lucky enough, like we are, to travel around all the time, you almost forget which country you come from, because we understand that we're all living on the same planet. I don't know whether I don't think music has the power to fix anything, but it definitely doesn't create division. It creates people coming together in certain places, and you know, I think there's always been crazy things happening in the world, and people always turn to music to have a break from it and a nice time. It's a very simple pleasure. No, the band isn't going to end, but we're just very grateful to be where we are right now, and we'd like to stay in this world for a while and do a tour, and I don't know what we would ever do in the future. Everything we're doing is focused right now.
How is radio working for you globally with all the streaming and all the internet? Is working for you, radio?
I still think that radio is driving a lot of things, and I think with the amount of content, the amount of music on the internet and everywhere, I think people are still looking for some kind of guidance. I think it's a very difficult to, when you sit in front of a computer and you think to yourself, I can listen to anything in the world right now. What am I going to listen to? Yeah. I freeze. It's like,
baffled by too much choice, too many options.
And so if you have a radio station that you love and that you trust the guy or one particular DJ or whatever it is, if there's someone whose taste that you enjoy, then that's the person, you listen to that person and you listen to them for guidance. And so I still think radio is crucial, and until that changes, I think that'll still be a big player, I think. And I love listening to the radio, you know, that's where I listen to most of my music.
Well, we played in that amazing venue, which is like really long and thin. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the Parque
Simón
Simón
Bolívar.
Bolívar. Yeah, in Colombia.
So the concert was amazing. The audience was incredible. It was our first time in the country.
And you're coming back, right?
Yeah, we're coming back
in April.
In April.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, of course, we're waiting for you there in Colombia.
The most powerful anecdote was a singer called Mary Clayton came in, who most people know in the West or the Europe really for singing on Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
And we said, please would you come in and do some singing with us, because we'd love that. And she came in and she was in a wheelchair. I thought, well, she's older and that's fine. And she was so full of life and joy. And she did her singing. And then at the end of the day, she said, oh yeah, I just lost my legs last week.
She was in an accident, right?
Yeah, and she didn't even mention it the whole day. Wow. And I was like, God, this is the kind of person we want to be inspired by.
I heard in an interview that President Obama have you guys on his Spotify playlist. And actually, you said in an interview that it's going to be possible that some audio of Barack Obama was going to be on the album.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It is from Amazing Grace, right?
Yeah.
How that happened? How was that?
Well, how it happened is
And how does it feel to be on the President Obama's playlist?
Well, I'm so happy. He's on our album, so it's nice that he returned the favor. So when he sang Amazing Grace in the church, to me that was such an amazing moment of humanity and how we should approach some of the craziness in the world. It was an amazing response, and they very kindly gave us permission to use a little bit of it at this point in the album after this poem I was telling you about.
That is included in the album also. It's track number 7.
It's all on the same track.
Yeah.
I have to go because my daughter is playing in a championship basketball game. Cool?
Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody. See you later.
Hi everyone, this is Will from the band Coldplay.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Johnny.
And we're from the band Coldplay, and you're listening to the X 103.9.